Hey, how's it going everyone? It's your boy, and yeah, unusual place for me to do a video, but I needed a little bit more privacy today because it's been a bit hectic where I live. So here I am in the middle of a nice little park on my own, without many people here to bother me. So if things sound a bit different, they look a bit weird, hey, I'm doing this on the fly. Today's video, I thought I would discuss Amber Heard, and just very briefly, because she's doing her testimony, she's on direct. I was hoping to wait until after Cross to determine whether or not the time was right to make this video, but considering her story so far, and considering now they're on a break, yeah, I might as well get this video out. And how can anybody take this woman seriously anymore? I mean, fair enough, back in 2016 when all of the accusations came out about Johnny Depp from her, I can see it from a blue pill perspective, that is, that, yeah, she seems believable. She's a young-ish actress, doesn't look particularly strong compared to Johnny Depp, who, by the way, isn't the biggest guy in the world. He's become pretty big now, but back then, you know, no, he really wasn't. Yeah, but compared to her, yeah, as a man, bigger, stronger, bigger actor, more powerful in Hollywood, at least that's what we thought. Yeah, I can see why people would think that he was an abuser. And also, blue pill people, normal people, believe women by default, because that's what they've been brought up to do. And to some extent, there is a psychological, biological component to it. When there's a hot, attractive, vulnerable woman, everybody just feels more compelled to believe them, want to help them, whether it be assault, whether it be rape, whether it be domestic assault, whether it's true or not. Like, we just do. Unfortunately, that's a fact of life, and it's something that men's rights activists and people like that have been struggling with and have to deal with. But we all know that's bullshit. She didn't deal with any of that. In fact, she was the abuser. And I think the court case has really highlighted a lot of the stuff that people like me, and maybe some other people in the audience have been aware of for years. Like, I knew about all of these little recordings that they'd made with each other. I was aware of some of the stories that were involved and some of the people's testimony in the police records and things like that. But a lot of the public, and surprisingly a lot of lawyers in LawTube and people in my side of YouTube, weren't aware of any of this. It dumbfounds me that they didn't know. I understand regular people didn't know, and this massive public court case has highlighted that, but I'm surprised that people didn't know about this. But now they do, and now they can see the lies that she has spun and how she managed to hoodwink America and the world for years. Now we know, thanks to her own words, thanks to her own actions, that she is a liar. So now that anybody says that this was his fault, that he was the abuser, and there's still people out there who think that he is an abuser, these people, well, they need to actually go and watch the trial, they need to watch the highlights, the hundreds of millions of highlights across YouTube. They need to watch them and realise what's going on, you know, watch all the little bits of information that's come out, because a lot of it was done by Amber. And also hear her own words, as she admits to her own abuse on several occasions towards him, and also says, how will the world believe you as a man, Johnny Depp, that you were abused? Again, if that doesn't expose her to these people, then I don't know what will. But most of the people are either idiots, if they still believe her, old, so they have no concept of a man being abused, even though they'll have seen it in their own lives, or they're feminists, and this is an agenda. This is part of their activism, to believe all women, to support all women, and also some of them may be abusers themselves, and they're trying to hide behind her. This is the ship that they'll sink on. And, well, sink on that ship, guys, if you're not willing to get off. And for the people who are trying to play the alt-centrist, the ones who are trying to be balanced, this isn't a story where you can be balanced. This was not a reciprocal case of domestic violence, and some of you will quite rightly point out that, Mitch, most domestic violence is reciprocal. Both partners are at it. And you're right. In most cases, as Erin Pizzey taught us way back in the 1960s and 70s, yeah, most domestic violence cases are in fact reciprocal. It's not one way or the other. But this is one of those cases where it really was one party doing all of the abuse. Yes, Johnny Depp may have said things in anger, in retort, but that was not abuse. Arguably, that is self-defense. Verbal self-defense, but self-defense nonetheless. He never once laid a finger on her. That much we now know is certain. So you can't say that he himself abused her. In what way did he abuse her? Because we've debunked the fact that he didn't lay a finger on her, because he said in numerous times throughout these little recordings that if there is violence, they must separate. He always tries to walk away. He extricates himself from the situation. His sister even said that that's what they learnt to do when their own mother was abusive towards them. And we also know that Amber herself always complained about him extricating himself, removing himself from the situation, because she saw that as cowardly. She wanted that conflict in the relationship because somehow it makes her think that he loves him or whatever it might be. I don't know. She's borderline. She's nuts. And also, she equates that, and this is something that Johnny's team really managed to emphasise and explain very well, that she equated his running away with violence towards herself. As crazy as that sounds, this was not a case of reciprocal domestic violence. Quite the opposite, in fact. And she's not doing very well on direct. Her story has changed, as we've seen throughout the years, and it's just gotten to the point now where it's become absurd. And you can tell by her own behaviour and mannerisms that there's nothing genuine about it. She's trying to cry, but no tears are coming out, or little bits. She's huffing and puffing and scrunching her face up in strange ways. And the story about the bottle and the airplane incident, walking on broken glass, but apparently being able to walk around perfectly normal. Yeah, come on. If the jury is switched on and aware of her antics, if they're switched on and they're not your typical blue pill audience, because I have heard about the demographics of the group of 7 who are juries, they're mainly men my age, or in that little age group, and there's a few older men and there's some women. I don't know the age of the women. I personally don't have Nick Recator's belief that because these are millennial men, not Zoomers or boomers, that these people will be more reciprocal to Johnny Depp because they've been taught that they're shitty men all their lives. I don't think that's the case. I personally think that it could well be that they'll think, like the younger men and the older men, that the woman is mainly the one who is the victim, and they may think that she is. They could easily be fooled by her fake tears, because we don't really know how far away they are from her on the witness stand. We don't know, because by law they're not allowed to be shown. We don't know if they're really close, they can see that it's fake, or if they're a bit too far away to really determine what exactly she's doing. But hey, you know what? I don't mind a bit of hopium, because at the end of the day, Johnny Depp has proven, I think, to the public, to most people, that he is innocent of any of these crimes that he was accused of. And even if he doesn't win the defamation case, because remember, this is a defamation case, primarily, this is what he's suing her over in regards to the Washington Post article. As long as he wins the court of public opinion and he loses the court case, I think he can have his head held high and he can say, job well done. I've exposed her, because I have seen winds of change, at least a little bit. I do know that nowadays it is a bit more acceptable to say that men are abused by women, increasingly so. And honestly, I think mostly women are the ones that are defending him. And that's not because most of his fan base happen to be women, which I guess is the case, but across all age groups, across all ethnicities, across all cultures, people who I work with. And that's not just women, but men too. Men of different demographics, men who aren't even straight, on his side, they know she's full of shit, and that's great. But will that translate into a societal push towards understanding and accepting that of male victims, that it's okay for them to come out? I don't know. And does this mean that necessarily he'll win the case, that most people will believe him? Again, I don't know. I have seen most people side with him, but that could be an individual case. It might not be that maybe people from now on will think, oh, maybe I should be a bit more sceptical in regards to these claims. I shouldn't just believe all women. I don't know what to say about that. And I think I made a video on it a few months back, maybe a year ago, where I said that this case will not change men's rights overnight. It may help towards that, but I don't know. And what about Johnny Depp himself? Will he just take the money and ride off into the sunset? Or will he realise that not only does he have other charitable causes with regards to children and other things like that, will he actually take it upon himself to maybe raise awareness of males who are abused by women, male domestic violence victims? Will he become like a spokesperson for them? I don't expect him to become an anti-feminist or a men's rights activist full on. He could just be an advocate, whatever. He can call himself whatever he wants, as long as the shoe fits, to quote Dr. Randa McCann. Will he do this? Will he realise that this is bigger than him, that there's other men who are in a similar position to him, who are in a similar position to him, who need help, who need funding, who need places to run to? Or will it be one of them who, once this issue is over for them, they check out and don't bother? And that's fine. He can do that. It's his life. He can do what he wants. But if he becomes an advocate, that will be, for however long he does it, a massive, massive, just kick in the teeth for the feminists, because they've lost somebody who was, I think, on their side for a very long time. He is a leftist. I'm not going to deny that. I know he is. Can he really support feminism now? Can he support Me Too? I don't think so. But if he supports men's issues, even if it's just this one, that's going to provide an energy boost for the MRM and people who are affiliated with them, groups affiliated with the MRM. That will be a massive push. And that will make male domestic violence victims more aware to the public. The public will be more aware of them. They will realise, maybe in their own lives, that they've met men who are abused or are being abused right now, and they might start to think about these things more. But again, I don't expect things to change overnight, but him becoming this vocal spokesperson could well be something that we all need. But if he does it, if he doesn't, he doesn't. And I have seen people say that Amber Heard is trying to, or did try to use the hashtag Me Too movement for her own ends, that she, quote unquote, abducted it. You know, she tried to become the face of Me Too, the face of domestic violence. While it's true she tried to be the face of domestic violence, she didn't use hashtag Me Too. Hashtag Me Too was created by people like her for her. Yes, for every Weinstein, and even then, most of Weinstein's cases may not be as clear-cut as we think, and for every Epstein and Kevin Spacey, there's always people like Aziz Ansari, people like Louis C.K., who else? Even Cosby. Even Bill Cosby turned out to perhaps not be as guilty as people thought. In fact, there was a lot of fuckery involved with his trial, and there's a good video by Razorfist about that. And I think Honey Badger Radio also did some good streams on that as well, that I can probably link to. It was created by false accusers, for false accusers, for people who wanted to ruin, primarily, men's lives. That's why, apart from maybe some gay men, straight men, on the other hand, were vilified, attacked, and ignored, and they were the primary victims of this movement. This movement was primarily made to destroy men. It always was, and until people recognise that fact, that it was a fraud, then I'm sorry, she didn't hijack it. But anyway, that's the end of the video. So until next time, it's been your boy. Like and share the video, and I'll see you all later.